nothing happens for 45 years. Maybe 75 years, nothing happens. And someday, Mr. Entrepreneur comes along. He says, wait a minute, you know that thing with the bulb, it's like my other thing with the bulb, and I think I can like introduce this new product. Okay, we then got this sort of chasm of commercialization. Like the guy says, I've got a new product, and I think it's like going to be a new industry here, or new something, whatever. Okay, 90% of those die. I mean, not 15% or 50%, like 90% of them die. This guy's like, yeah, that sounded really great, and I tried to do it, and it's like it wasn't promoted properly, or just plain didn't work, or it sold in the south of Italy and nowhere else in the world, so nobody really cared, or the guy had a heart attack on the way to the big conference. There's this huge chasm between a thing that's just a curiosity and a weird futurist whatever, an indicator, a signifier, and something that actually matters to anybody. Okay, now in the rising star phase, that's where everybody makes tons of money. And the rising star phase is like Jobs and Wozniak coming out of the garage, and they're like, we've made a homemade computer. It's like, why would I want a computer? Nobody wants a computer. We only need 40 computers in the world. Okay, but we're Jobs, we're Wozniak. Who cares? You're two hippies from California. You have hair down to here. I don't care about your computer. I laugh at your computer. Wait a minute, it's actually starting to sell. I mean, who wants it? Only these crazy guys? No, actually, kind of a lot of people want it. So somebody writes VisiCalc, the business community wants it. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, wait a minute, I can make money with this. Then you have this slope-like boom, which, makes Gates into the richest guy in the world. The guy who happens to know that 30 years ago, they lit an electric filament inside of a vacuum glass bulb, and he saw that, and his head is cluttered with all this stuff, because, he's fond of these arcane, old-fashioned, clunky curiosities of technology, and that's kind of the seedbed from which everything flows. Which is why every futurist who's any good is a historian. And the future is a kind of history that hasn't happened yet. And dead stuff is the seedbed, it's the compost heap of novels. Nobody will ever pay you to look at it. You're very hard. I mean, there's a million magazines called Success. There's none called Failure. There's Time. There isn't one called Pastime. There's Life. There isn't one called Death. You can't sell last week's newspaper. This is everything that happened last Tuesday. Nobody's going to buy that, even if it's really accurate, good, fantastic. Let's see how much time I have left here. I enjoy it. I'm one of the few guys who kind of does that thing for a living. I don't know, I can even teach it. I'd be happy to help you if you think that would help. I'm living in Torino till March. Send some email, we'll do something. I'm fine with that. I'm here to spot, trends in your fine corner of the world. There's a lot going on here. I'm very impressed. It's much more fun to write about, ferment in northern Italy and grim stories of the ongoing American decline, restricted to one machine or one network, or one device or one operating system. It's really built to spread like ink through pretty much anything. A handheld, a PDA, a laser printer, a 3D promoter. You go look at Flickr, which to my mind is kind of the ultimate Web 2.0 baby. You've got Flickr, you've got photographs, you've got prints of the photographs, you've got books of the prints of the photographs, you've got books of the prints of the photographs, stickers of the books of the prints of the photographs. You've got devices for displaying the books, the pics, the photos of the photographs. You've got bumper stickers of the front of the fence, right, okay. And there's no contradiction there. It doesn't sort of stop in the middle. And if they don't do it themselves, they get somebody else to come mash up next to them. Have an API, right? Open API, application programming interface. Right? It's here's our code. Come right on in and just socket your code into our code. And if you start making money, we're going to absorb you. Because, of course, they're Yahoo. In fact, that's sort of the liveliest part of Yahoo. The rest of Yahoo is in big trouble with the U.S. government for So although Yahoo is a moral picnic, which has been scolded in the U.S. Senate, Flickr is like really hot still. And continuing to spread, and all these different retail outlets and kind of social outlets, and it just kind of, it oozes up, it sort of comes up behind the lines, there's no fast line. Okay. And they just throw the features up, and they're like the crossword puzzle in the newspaper, or the horoscope. Would you like to try our new feature and see if it's any fun? You know, and there's like 1,000 guys who will try every single new feature. The kind of alpha geeks and the beta geeks. Flickr like cultivates these people. They send them warm, cuddly email. Sometimes they hire them. They sit there watching people if they adopted the new feature. They quietly shovel the feature under the rug if nobody's using it. They could have hide it under one corner. But it's a continuous carnival of features. There isn't like a canonical Flickr that's just like the thing. There's a perpetual change, and people go for it because they like to watch the perpetual change. It's actually put there, the changes in the software are popular entertainment. I don't know. I mean, you can get tremendous benefits out of having 100,000 people do something. It's like Wikipedia. You just scale it up. 100,000 contributors are a different organization than 10 contributors. The people who can do that are very good. And Paul Sappho says that the future belongs in the web to the people who can make the most money from the smallest particles of user effort. Right? You get the users to do practically nothing, but you get 100 million of them to do practically nothing, and you've got like a pyramid of sand bigger than Notre Dame. It's like, and how do you leverage that? Well, it's a software design problem. Better than I could figure, but I'm tending to agree. That's where Google's making tons of money. Every time you put a search term in Google, they're storing it and data mining it and comparing it to everybody else's search term. That's how Amazon makes money. Every time you're shopping, they're looking at it, they're collating that data, they're seeing where you're from, who you went to, they're piling that up into a huge competitive advantage over anybody else who ever wants to do a retail store. We're a country because I'm looking for parallel evolution. And I come from a country that's like a giant crocodile, like a wounded Republican elephant. I'm kind of looking for something a little sleeker, faster, turns around on the dime a little better, not so sclerotic, not riddled with superstition. Future's where you find it, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you.